Morning, and I actually have 3 volunteers coming today. I think I have breakfast in my teeth. I think I have like an hour and a half. So I'm going to take a little farm walk, and I thought I'd take you along with me and show you how I do my farm walk. So just so you guys get an idea, I am starting with my farm journal, which is what I keep notes and records, but I've also started kind of keeping a to-do list in there so I can look back and see at any given time of year what my to-do list looked like, and a writing utensil, and here we go. So looking at the first crop, I know that my zucchini need to have all of these squash bug eggs squished because A, I noticed it yesterday, but also, oops, gross. Over in my pumpkin area, which the pumpkins are actually doing pretty well. I would try to show you a fruit, but I'm not sure if I remember where I saw a couple the other day. Oh, haha! Look! So cute! I actually have quite a few of those. And you guys will see, I have so many weeds back here. And I was starting to feel discouraged, but I have a massive deer problem out here, and the weeds actually help. See, as crazy as it sounds, last year my weeds got out of control in my melon and squash area, and all of my melons and squashes got eaten in the spots that I was really on top of the weeds. And the areas where the weeds got super tall and you couldn't hardly see anything, the deer didn't find them. Those were the only spots that I got good fruits from. So I'm actually intentionally leaving the weeds. In a future year, I'll plan better and I'll plant a cover crop around them to kind of do the same thing, but also be more of a beneficial plant. But for right now, you can stay weeds. You can protect my pumpkins and melons from the deer. So a little tidbit for ya. Example of something I need to write down. This is a problem, and man, and if I'm not taking an intentional farm walk, then I'll never notice things like this, or at least I won't notice them until it's too late. So I'm gonna write that down so that later on when I am troubleshooting, I can remember to look it up and figure out how to solve the problem. Were you dazzled by the same constellation? Did you and Jupiter conspire to get me? I think you got it right. 'Cause now so I want to show you my kohlrabi because it's a little bit of a failure, but also a really good example of why I need to take notes during these farm walks. This is like the biggest it's gotten. And if you know what kohlrabi is supposed to look like, it should be about this big. Also, I planted these very early on in the year. These were some of the first seeds I planted, and it is the middle of July. I should have harvested these already, and ugh, they're just terrible. But I've learned some lessons. This spot over here doesn't get enough water, so I probably should have mulched them. So I wrote that down in my notes that next time I plant kohlrabi, I need to probably put down straw. I think that would help. They had a lot of leaf damage, so learning that I definitely need to use row cover next time is important. And then also I'm experimenting with tarps this year, as some of you may know. Okay, I get that there's a fire, but I'm making a video. Anywho, but by making those notes, I'll be able to look back at this next time I plant kohlrabi and say, was there anything I was trying to remember about how to do this time? So that maybe I won't have quite as much of a failure. And some of these look like they might finally develop, but I think the majority of them unfortunately won't, which breaks my heart. But kohlrabi is a cool weather crop, so I'll probably plant some more here soon for a fall crop, so that they'll be ready when fall rolls around, and I'll be able to put into place the things that I wrote down in my notes today. So hopefully I can do better next time. Constantly learning. So one quick thing I'm learning about row cover, I know that there are different thicknesses of it, but I really haven't experimented with it until this year, which is why it's so important for me to be constantly checking up on stuff. But if you look at this, I have a little bit of a gap in between these, and so this got so loud, geez. This guy got accidentally exposed. Here, I'll turn the camera around. Some of my arugula sprouts, as you can see, got a little bit exposed, which is fine, they're doing fine. But that gives me a good control group to compare some of these sad little guys. And granted, they're newer, so that could be why they're a little bit more yellow, but if you look at the color difference between these and these look a lot healthier to me. So, they're doing okay. Anyway, my question is this blocking out too much sunlight? I think it's supposed to block out about 4%, which should be okay, but I'm not quite sure. Over on this side, it's a little bit weedy, but is this arugula or kale? The other ones I showed you actually were arugula. I'm really bad at labeling these days. Or I mean, sorry, we're kale. Oh my gosh, I suck. I basically have just labeled these brassicas because I can't remember what I planted. Hey, what are you guys doing? You're supposed to be under the row cover with your buddies. Whoops. guys, I'm so excited about how my leeks are doing this year. It's July and this is how big they are, which may not seem massive, but last year they looked about this big, if not smaller, when I harvested them in like September. I'm so proud. This landscape fabric, you know, say all you want about using plastics, and I am 100% with you. I want to stop using plastics as much as I possibly can. But if I can feed people better by using plastics once a year, and this isn't very much, plus I'm going to try to recycle it, you know, you gotta win some and lose some, and you gotta spend a little to make a little. So I'm in constant battle with myself over whether or not it's okay to use plastics in farming, and how much is too much, and when it's benefiting the planet versus harming the planet, and the economics of that, and I don't really know, but I do know that my leeks look a lot better than they did last year. So take that for what it is. So I am basically done with my farm walk. I just wanted to kind of give you another quick rundown of all the things that I was particularly looking for on this walk. So one, I'm looking at the individual plants to see if there are any specific issues to that plant, be it pest issues or the need to specifically be weeded, because a lot of them need to be weeded, but some of them are higher priority than others. Three, obviously any sort of like deficiency, whether that's minerals and nutrients or if it's not getting enough water for whatever reason. Those are the things I'm looking for in the individual plants. Secondly, I'm just kind of walking around to see how things are doing in general, because next year my farm won't look the same as it looks this year. I rotate crops as much as I possibly can. I try to make sure that things are working together. So if I see that a specific area or zone of the farm is doing well or is doing worse than it was last year, I want to make note of that so that when I'm planning for the following years, I can plan accordingly. Did that make any sense? And finally, I'm just trying to perk myself up and show myself that things are actually growing, even though I kind of feel like a giant failure this time of year. Really, it is great to walk around the farm and get a really good idea of exactly what things are looking like. It can be a little bit discouraging at this time of year just because of how much I need to get done and how little time there is to get all of that done, and you just start to kind of feel like a failure when you look around at all of the weeds and the plants that aren't doing so well. You kind of forget to really recognize all of your wins. So I highly recommend a farm walk to anyone who's feeling discouraged, even though you are pointing out a lot of things that are going wrong and that might feel like a giant failure. You also get to see all of the things that are going so right and kind of remind yourself of the giant undertaking that you have put yourself into, which is a great reminder that, you know what, you're doing all right. So thank you so much for watching. Words are hard. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know to make more content like this. Also go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I make new videos and I would love for you to be able to see them. Feel free to share this with your friends if you felt like it was kind of helpful. If you're into farming or gardening and you have any comments, leave them down below. I would love to see those. Until next time, I'm gonna go get ready for my little volunteers, and what do I say at the end of videos? Oh yeah, go grow something.